Hello folks and welcome back to So What If I Sew, or welcome if you're new. This is day 8 of Vlogmas and I am Jess. This is my channel all about sewing, dressmaking and all things stitch related. I didn't do yesterday because we had friends over for friend Christmas, so I just wanted to be in the moment, and plus we had a lot of cooking to do, and it was wonderful. We had a great time. We always do a roast, we invite our close friends over. Yesterday was also a little sort of legal name change party because we had to get our friends to sign our deed polls. So that Adam and I can do our name change paperwork and everything, because we are not just changing last name, we're changing some other stuff as well. So that was fun as well. So we had a little legal name change party and then a full roast, and then we played board games. It was just really nice. Everyone comes around lunchtime, they leave at like 10 o'clock at night, and it was just really enjoyable. So we had a good time, that was really fun. But today, I thought I'd give you a proper sewing related chatty vlog because a lot of my week hasn't been that sewing related. And I do one of these every year, so why not do it today? So in this video we're going to talk about Make 9 and we're going to do a review of this year's Make 9. I think I've done the most I've ever done, possibly. I've done 7 out of 9 this year, but there's an argument to say it's 8 out of 9 for a slightly different reason, so we'll come to that in a minute. So grab a cup of tea and let's chat. Okay, so first things first, if you don't know what Make 9 is, challenge is the wrong word, but Make 9 is, I suppose, a way of grouping the things you would like to make for the upcoming year. Crucially, you do not have to make them, but a lot of people like it as a way to sort of say, do you know what, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to say, right, I really want to sew a coat, or I really want to sew jeans, or Sam, my podcast partner, did techniques. So this year I want to do these 9 techniques, or I want to sew with these 9 fabrics, or I want to do these 9 things. It's basically a way of grouping what you want to do in the year. But what it isn't is a stick to beat yourself with. I'm very, very strict on this. And it's also not mandatory, because the thing is, you set your Make 9 December, January time. By the summer, your life might have changed, your body might have changed, your priorities might have changed, your sewing skills might have changed. Like, it's movable, it's malleable. But this year I set my Make 9 because I wanted to recognise, actually, I had a lot of mandatory sewing to do this year for the wedding. And in a way, sometimes Make 9 can be a bit like, oh God, I never got to do any of those things. But this year I used my Make 9 to recognise that actually I had a lot of stuff to sew this year, and it really helped. So my Make 9 grid from this time last year is on screen now. So I'm going to talk through what's there. So, see if I can do this from memory, because I don't have it in front of me. So it is the Megan Nielsen Dawn jeans, top right. Top middle is a green styles pattern, is a running top. I am going to do that next year. Spoiler alert, I have not had time to do that this year. And then the chalk and knot Shay. Then my wedding dress. Then, oh, what is it next? Then a hack of the Tammy Handmade Rhea. I wanted to make a skirt. Then the Tilly and the Buttons Pearl, then Bridesmaids Dresses, the Vicky Sews Andy, and Groomsmen and my husband's tie for the wedding. So that was my Make 9, and about half of it's wedding related, and actually, weirdly, that really helped because it set the tone for the year. When I was making plans and making goals, it meant that I wasn't setting myself really, frankly, unachievable goals because I had so much wedding sewing to do. It was more, I have wedding sewing, this is going to be my year of wedding sewing, and everything else on here is largely comfortable, confident, something I can just do, and I feel okay doing. So for example, the Vicky Sews Andy, one of my great success stories of this year, went on the list because I was like, I need something comfy to work from home in. That's something I know I need, it's not going to be super difficult, so it can go on the list. Equally, Tilly and the Buttons Pearl, I was like, I know I need to make this for my sister, and I'd quite like one for myself, so I'm going to stick it on my Make 9. And I was a lot more conscious of my sort of workload and the type of year I was going to have when I made my Make 9 last year, and I'm really, really glad I did that. So how did I do? New Make 9 up on the screen, or I suppose updated Make 9. I managed 7 out of 9, which is pretty good for me. It's pretty good. I normally get somewhere between 6 and 7, because I really do tend to pick things where I'm like, I want this in my wardrobe. Sometimes I deviate from pattern, sometimes I deviate from style, but I tend to construct my Make 9 on the basis that I want X thing in my wardrobe. So I did 7 out of 9 this year, of which my wedding dress, bridesmaids dresses, groomsmen ties were all, those 3 were wedding related. So I always knew they were going to happen. So they're all done, and I have whole separate vlogs talking about those. In terms of the other ones, so Chalk and Knot Shea I made in the summer. I wore to loads of conferences. I have another one planned that I'm going to make for our honeymoon. I'm really excited. The Tilly and the Buttons Pearl, done. My sister has it as a present. She loves it. Really happy with that one. The Vicky Sews Andy, as I said. I did that in collaboration with Higgs and Higgs, so they gave me some lovely, cosy knit fabric to make it in as well, which was stunning. And my Tammy Handmade Rhea I did in like January, and that was literally just, I need a nice skirt. I like the bottom of the Rhea. I'm going to hack it into a skirt. And I definitely want to do more stuff like that this year. So 7 out of 9, I'm pretty happy with it. Now, the reason I said in the intro that it could be 8 out of 9 is that I didn't make the Megan Nielsen Dawn jeans. Because I was a bit like, I don't want to go through the whole thing of making them and them not work for me, or the style not work, etc. So I went halfway. First things first, I bought a pair of similar style straight leg jeans that were quite cheap so that I could figure out whether I like them or not. And actually, I love them. I wear them all the time. I feel really comfortable. They're brilliant with like endo bloat and stuff like that. They're just so much more comfortable. I mean, I still love skinny jeans. I'm wearing some today. But actually, it's been really, really nice to sort of get used to straight leg jeans. So I'm quite happy with that. I also feel like I made the Maison Fauve Hussard jeans earlier this year. Possibly, did I make them in December? Or did I make them in January? Anyway, I made the Hussard jeans, and that was also a step towards this. So I've made a straight leg jeans, just not the Megan Nielsen ones. And I made a denim skirt from Sew Over It, the Xanthi skirt, and that allowed me to practice loads of the techniques that I'm going to need to use in the Dawn jeans. So I am going to make them. I might make them this year. Things I've learnt so far about what I want from my Dawn jeans. I want a lighter weight denim, like my Hussard jeans, because they're really comfortable. And the denim I made my Xanthi skirt is really, really thick. So I definitely want something a little bit lighter, maybe some bull denim or something would be nice. I want to make a lighter coloured pair because I have a lot of dark jeans and my straight leg ones are lighter and they're really, really nice. So I'd like to do a little bit with that. And I don't need to be scared of top stitching. That's the other thing I've learned. I might need to learn to do a seat adjustment. I don't know. I am definitely going to toile them though, and I'm definitely less scared of toiles now as a result, which is nice. So they're still on my to-do, and I am going to make some running clothes next year, but I am actually going to also try not to mix my hobbies for a bit. I don't want sewing guilt to pervade running and running guilt to pervade sewing. I just want to keep them separate. I want them both to be the types of stress relief they are. So whilst there may be some running sewing in my future, I'm not going to force it. I'm just going to see how I feel, see how we go, and just enjoy both of my hobbies without necessarily, like, I don't know, I feel like I want to be much more comfortable with my running before I start making stuff to run in and then it being a whole thing. So that's kind of a roundup of how I've done. Now, let's talk about the most important bit for me anyway, before I decide next year's Make 9. What have I learnt this year? So I would say the top 3 things I have learnt this year, and it has been a big year, and I recommend, I'm going to be quite brief here, but I recommend listening to the bonus ep Sam and I put out about making my wedding dress if you want to hear a little bit more about what I'm about to talk about. One of the biggest things I've learned in the last year is that adjustments and toiling do not have to be scary. I am not going back on my previous thoughts. I still do not believe a toile is always necessary. It just isn't. Enjoy your hobby. Don't feel like everything has to be perfect. However, this year is definitely the year I found joy in toiling and designing and practicing and learning and just being a bit more, because I think it's easier if you know a project's going to be really difficult. So like my wedding dress, I went into that eyes wide open. I went, this is going to be really difficult. So let's enjoy it. Let's go through versions. My dress was version 6 in the end, my final dress, and I loved it. It was fantastic. I am working on the final wedding dress series vlog for you guys at the moment, and there's just some footage that was corrupted, so I'm refilming that at the moment. But it was so special, and yesterday I was sorting through boxes of wedding stuff, and all of my versions are still there, and I don't really know what I want to do with them yet, but they were so important to me. They were such a big part of my wedding dress journey, and they didn't feel like, I don't know, I just knew, I was like, this is going to be at least 3 versions realistically, got up to 6, but they all felt necessary, it all felt part of a big creative process. So I definitely found joy in that, and actually found that it, particularly if you're designing something, that's just part of it. And it's great, it's fun. Every version you go, great, well this is right and I need to work on this. It feels a bit Sisyphean at times, but it's enjoyable, it's fun, it's creative, it's interesting, and sometimes toiling, particularly when you're redrafting pattern pieces, is an enormous part of sewing. Which brings me to step 2, or thing 2, I suppose, that I've learned. This year I've learned to fit to other people. And that is not something I've really ever known before. I've been able to sew stuff for other people in terms of size. But this year I sewed 4 custom fitted dresses, which included loads of adjustments. I did so many adjustments on Adam's shirt as well. I did so many adjustments for my own body, like going through redrafting pattern pieces, redrafting fit, redrafting drape, redrafting ease, looking at all of my bridesmaids and understanding, right, so-and-so's got a long torso, so I need to do this. Or Adam's got a full bicep, so I need to do an adjustment here. Like, I've learned so much about fitting to other people this year, and it's actually making me so excited. I'm not going to suddenly sew loads for other people, but I feel like I understand pattern pieces so much better now than I used to. And that's kind of really cool. Like, I really like that. And my final thing actually this year, and I'm genuinely really quite proud of this, I'm not scared of hand sewing anymore. Okay, so how do I explain this? I've never been scared of hand sewing. I'm not like, oh god, a needle. You know, like that's not what I mean here. However, I have always regarded hand sewing with a level of disinclination. I just don't want to do it. I don't do it very neatly. I think I'm very aware that I'm not the neatest hand sewer in the world, and my stitches are never going to be perfect, or not at the moment anyway. And let's be honest, I still don't, still not the best in the world. I still don't adore it. What it is now though, is it's part of my arsenal of things I can do. And in the same way that I'm never going to skip with delight and go, oh yay, I get to put in another invisible zip, and I'm never going to skip along and say, hooray, I get to hand sew. But I would say I am hand sewing neutral now. If I have to hand sew, I say, okay, cool, I'll hand sew that in. Or I was fixing a hole in the crotch of my true bias. I've talked about this in another vlog, sorry. I was fixing the hole in the crotch of my true bias, what are they called? The trackies, the ones I have that I love. I'll link them below. Hudson pants, there we go. And I was like, oh, just be quick to hand sew this, I don't want to set the machine up. And I did it, and then about 10 minutes later I went, huh, that's new. That's a new part of me. Or like there's a tiny problem with one of the straps on my wedding dress. I remember like the day before she go, oh, I'll just fix that with him. I'll just have, needle and thread, just fix that now. I mean, I do think it helps I sewed 37 buttons onto my wedding dress, because I've got a lot better at hand sewing. I'm still not very good at not stabbing myself in the hand. That's still very much there. I really can't make thimbles work for me, so any tips on that would be very welcome. And I'd really love to take this hand sewing into next year and do some embroidery. I think that'd be really cool. That'd be something I think would be a fun growth area. I'd like to get better at darning. I'd like to get better at embroidery, and generally just doing a little bit more hand sewing to like cement those skills. But it's been such a pleasant surprise of all the things I thought, oh, this year I'll learn this or that. I didn't expect to just become totally fine with hand sewing. I mean, I hand sewed loads of the bridesmaids' dresses. I hand sewed thousands of buttons onto my wedding dress, but also lots of little bits of my wedding dress I just reinforced with hand stitches. And I hand sewed 4 ties. In conclusion, 7 out of 9 I'm pretty happy with. One of them I'm definitely going to do because I've done lots of prep work for and I'm sure I want it. The other one, we're just going to let it go for now. In terms of the non-wedding sewing, my favourite thing I've made this year, because obviously my favourite thing I've made this year is my wedding dress, but my non-wedding favourite thing has to be the Vicky Sews Andy. Oh my god, I need another one. I need 4. I just love it. I feel like a cozy Morticia Adams in it. I'm just going to put it on screen there because it deserves some more time. I cannot express how much I love the Vicky Sews Andy. It's stunning. I love it. And I just feel great in it. I feel sort of cozy but elegant and put together, but also I'm wearing a giant fluffy sock and it's great. Oh, 10 out of 10. I love it. My real question is, what colour do I make my next one in? Because I think they're quite nice if they're neutral. So maybe I need like a sort of cozy camel knit, maybe that would look nice. Because I don't want to do it in white because then it's just going to go grey. If I do it in grey, that's maybe a bit dull. But camel could be cute. Camel could be nice with like black boots and a coat and like, oh, maybe I should do that. Let me know in the comments if you think I should make another Andy, and if so, what colour you think it should be. I would also love to hear any questions you have, because when I do my Make 9 for next year, I'm happy to answer any questions on this year's. I also was planning to do a Q&A around the amount of sewing I've done this year, but I'm also a little bit nervous, so if you do have any questions, I'd really, really love to hear them. I'll put a box out on Instagram and let me know in the comments, drop me a message, whatever. If you've got any questions about my year in sewing, I would love to answer them. But hopefully this has been a fun, chatty Vlogmas. I hope you've liked a little bit more sewing chat. I know this week hasn't been super sewing heavy, but it has been very Christmassy, so I hope that's been enjoyable. And if you are enjoying Vlogmas with me, please let me know in the comments. I do feel very self-conscious about doing this. I'm sorry, I also just nearly fell off my stool there, so we are here. So thank you so much for watching, folks. I will be back tomorrow with something extra fun. Sequin Girly and I are going out, which is going to be really nice. And then I've got lots of other lovely things. Oh, before I forget, final thing, which is we are doing a live podcast. I was about to say live stream again. We're doing a live podcast quiz. Hooray! So Friday the 13th, very auspicious day. Friday the 13th of December, 7:30 on YouTube as a live stream. I will absolutely plague you with the link. Please come and join us. It's going to be so fun. We're going to have guests. We're going to have one of my favourite people as our quiz master. We'll have a couple of rounds. It'll be under an hour. And just come along. Treat it as a sewing Christmas party. Bring some sewing. You can play along live. Sam and I are so excited and we can't wait for you to see who's joining us as well. So stay tuned for that. I can't wait to bring you another week of Vlogmas. And I hope you're all having a brilliant festive season. Thank you so much for watching, guys. See you next time.